Hey guys, Justin here, hashtag PoolGuys, American Pool and Spa. We're here on a great project of BioDesign, and I'm standing here with Sam Green. And what we're going to discuss, how do we build BioDesign pools throughout the winter? So Sam, I appreciate you being here on this project, man. It's been great working with you and your team so far.
Thanks, Justin.
I want you to be able to describe and tell me, man, how these pools, for one, how can we build throughout the winter and keep jobs going throughout the year to get people swimming?
Sure, thank you. So one thing to realize about BioDesign pools are made of a proprietary resin that we invented mixed with quartz sand and marble. And that resin needs to be at about 55 degrees or warmer in order for it to cure properly. And obviously in most places around the country we don't have full years of that kind of weather, so in order to keep moving we can still do the basic bones of the project as far as design, the digging of the pool, the shaping of the pool, and then getting the first couple of structural layers down, getting the plumbing done, and that allows us to continue to move on forward in some of the ancillary projects that may be going on your property as well. Say patio, we can go ahead and do those things. We can go ahead and do pool houses, landscaping, and things like that. And then that allows us to get the pool in a position like this one is, where it's protected for the winter, it's ready to ride throughout the cold weather, and then really we only have about 4 or 5 more days to finish this project in the spring when it warms back up. But you don't have to wait for all of the other projects that need to be done around your property like you would with most other pools, where you can't really do those things because there's so much machinery and things like that that need to be done, preventing you from doing patio and landscaping, fencing, and things like that. So we've got this project to the first 3 layers finished at this point. We've only got about 2 more layers to put down on this. They are the BioDesign resin and sand mixture. And we're going to come back in the springtime and do that just as soon as the weather is warm enough to do so.
Yeah, so on this project we got at a standstill, and that's what Sam was trying to describe. And so we got so far, and what happened, the weather has turned. So with the resin they're talking about, they're patenting the mix, we're not able, because of, especially at night, it's getting too cold. Right. And during the day it could still try to cure, but then you're kind of working a little bit, a day off, working a little bit, doesn't make sense. So like he was saying, it's a lot smarter for construction, for the job, where we can get to certain phases, get to a point, let it rest for next spring, and we can be able to continue other things. Can you talk about the layers and those different things as far as, digging, to what part can we get to, and what is the last phase that would only be left?
Absolutely. So with BioDesign is made with no rebar, no concrete. It is literally just whatever shape you want, any kind of shape that you desire, as far as benches, steps, beach entry, true beach entries. We build that by shaping the dirt. We actually dig the hole in the shape of the pool. We don't have to have things like a massive over dig for plumbing and construction space. So we've dug this hole exactly the shape of the pool. Then we're going to put down a spun resin. This is actually the BioDesign resin, our proprietary resin, spun into fabric. It's kind of akin to Kevlar. It's very strong stuff. We put that down to protect our waterproof membrane from the ground itself, from any kind of penetration from the ground itself. On top of that, once we've got that down and welded together with heat, we've got a Firestone EPDM waterproof membrane. This is 80 mil thick. This is not a vinyl liner. This never has to be replaced. This has a 3,500 year half-life, meaning that this will take 7,000 years to biodegrade, and it will not even begin for 3,500 years. Something tells me that neither one of us are going to care about that when it happens.
Wow.
But that is what's actually holding the water here. Then we've got another couple of layers that go down as a structural layer. This material here that you can kind of see rolled up, that is a lateral strength material akin to rebar that gives this material its lateral strength. compressive strength on BioDesign is actually stronger than concrete. So we're 3,750 PSI of compressive strength at only 2 inches thick, where concrete with rebar is around 4,000 PSI.
Or some could possibly be to 6,000, but you're right, you guys are reaching over that threshold of 7,500 or so.
Exactly. So the way that this will go, we've got
great visual here.
We've got basically this board would serve as a representation of the earth. We've got this first layer of BioDesign spun resin into fabric. Again, that's akin to like Kevlar. It's very strong stuff. Then we've got the 80 mil EPDM Firestone liner that's on top of that. Then all of the plumbing on this pool is actually inside the pool. So there are no penetration points in this pool. You don't have to worry about ever a jet leaking or a bubbler leaking or a light niche leaking. All of those items are inside the waterproof membrane. So down the road, you never have to worry about a leak in this pool.
With that is extremely important, because a lot of the pools, like a vinyl liner, a fiberglass, concrete, you pressure test, you make sure settling issues, all that. But you're saying this can leak within itself and still be able to sustain functionality.
Absolutely. There's no such thing as a leak, because
pretty incredible.
It's actually inside the pool.
You're
not losing any water. So the next layers that are important here that we're going to be getting to in the spring, we'll have the first structural layer of BioDesign resin. Now this is kind of just an ugly layer. We put that down because it's very difficult to trowel a very beautiful, smooth finish layer on top of all of these other spongy layers. So by putting down this first scratch layer of BioDesign, again 3,750 PSI, this sets up very, very strong, like concrete. It does not move. There is no give or flex to it. But this will be the first layer that we put down in the spring. On top of that, we're going to put down a fiberglass geogrid. This gives that same lateral strength to the top layer. Now the top layer does trowel nice, perfectly smooth. This feels like when you're at the beach or the lake and you're walking right down where the surf is, and the sand is very tight and compacted and it doesn't move underneath your feet. That's what the surface of this feels like. But there is no give. There is no play in it. This doesn't ever move. It never changes color, and it never needs to be resurfaced, ever. So there are no thin surfaces here like plaster or gel coat or liner that can ablate away or be damaged, so that you never have to resurface this product. It's permeable, so the water will go right through this, just like at the beach, and the water is retained by the waterproof membrane that's underneath all of these layers.
Yeah, so as you can see overall, a lot of pros, a lot of positive on this kind of swimming pool for BioDesign. What would you say, because we like to be honest with our customers and everyone out there, what are some negatives that you think of a BioDesign pool?
I can't honestly think of any negatives. We do have customers that will say things like, can they get deep? And I'm sure you guys are watching this on a device, and the camera flattens everything, guys.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing pictures of BioDesign pools, the number one thing that we get from customers are, well, they look like they're ankle deep everywhere. And I say, you're right, the camera flattens everything. You ever go four-wheeling and try to go up a steep hill and get it on camera? It always looks like you're just driving down the road. And that's kind of what's going on here. But it's very typical on a BioDesign pool to get down 6-7 feet deep, depending on the size of the pool, obviously. That's not any different than any other type of pool. The larger the pool, the deeper you can go. But we also have to ask customers all the time, what are you wanting that super deep pool for? Are you only buying that because, are you only wanting that because that was important to you when you were a young kid?
Exactly, that was the standard pool. Give me an 18 by 36, 8 foot deep in, jumping off a diving board. And that's the thing, nowadays people want an oasis. You want to be able to relax. You want the tanning ledge, the bench seats. So a lot of these pools, I guess the only negative we could come up with, and I don't think it's a negative, but straight walls, we can do them in this pool. We have them on this one. But we prefer the way this pool is set up. You want a 45-degree angle where it's like a beach. You're slowly coming into the water. You're enjoying the tanning ledge, the water features, or anything you're doing to this, the little peninsula, that we've built inside, especially this pool, like a little island. So, I would say, I guess overall, you guys have figured it out from how to build it structurally.
Sure.
the plumbing and functionality, as well as even when you guys see when this is all done, the light show to everything that we can put inside this is pretty phenomenal.
You know, you mentioned the 45-degree walls versus a traditional vertical wall. And you know, when we design BioDesign, obviously we can do vertical walls in BioDesign as well, but the reason why we went to 45 degrees and we made that our standard was because we realized when you have vertical walls in a pool, it creates a place that there's nothing to do there. When you have a traditional pool, linear, you got a shallow end and a deep end. In between is a slope that's relatively unusable. Yep. So you have 30% or 40% of your pool that's deep, say 20 or 30% that's shallow, and then all of the distance in between is all unusable space. Now let's say you go into that deep end, there's nothing to do there. You can either stand on the bottom with the water over your head, you can tread water like that's what you want to be doing, or you can hang on to the edge like that's what you want to be doing.
Treading water, you don't.
You're not actually going to do that. In a BioDesign pool, you can be in the deep end, perch yourself on a 45-degree angle when you're neutrally buoyant, and there is something to do now. So it's not that the pool is less usable space because of the 45-degree angles. It's all usable space because of the 45-degree angles. And once people realize that the 45s make it so that you can have a deep end that is actually usable space all the time, it's not a negative, it's a positive. And we designed it that way because it's a positive.
That's a very good point. And when you guys are doing your homework on all kinds of swimming pools out there, I highly recommend looking into our BioDesign with our team, BioDesign USA. Sam, appreciate the video. This has been great. I hope it's been very educational for you guys. Please like that, like our page, and give us that thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you guys once again. This is Justin with American Pool and Spa. Check out another episode of #PoolGuys.
Thanks, guys.